Yeah, well, I think both players actually showing that they want to have some fun and they want some blood in this game, because I mean, Magnus also after e4 playing the provocative g6, so no e4, e5, no Sicilians whatsoever, just going for the Pierce defense or modern defense as people want to call it, because he has not committed the knight from g8 to f6 so quickly. So d4, d6, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, a6. And this is one of the points, yeah, that when white plays the setup with bishop e3 and queen d2, if black develops the knight to f6, there might be a very quick bishop h6 coming. But by delaying the knight movement from g8, it makes basically not so much sense for white immediately rush for these ideas. I mean, okay, you play the move, but you're not going to get bishop h6. b5, f3, knight d7, h4. Yeah, you make some provocation. Please show me, do you play h5? Then I get chance to get my knight to g5, for example, via h3. If you're going to play the move h6, then you will have trouble with your h6 pawn. Yeah, and Magnus plays knight gf6, which makes perfect sense. He still delays any decision with his h-pawn. Arjun went long castle, and we are in for a very big battle. You want to play too good, yeah, it's very dangerous. And Magnus did play the move h5, yeah, making sure that there won't be any bishop h6, because yeah, this trade of the dark square bishops could be very unpleasant. He definitely does not want to castle. What he wants to go do is to develop bishop b7, get maybe pawn to e6, knight b6, queen e7, and then maybe long castle himself. But now we got a chance. Now let me show you this line e4, e5. Because of course, if black takes d5, d5, knight takes e5, runs into queen takes d8, checkmate. That's the kind of the whole point of white setup. But now we get to this position that we have been talking about, e5 met by b4, and it's on the board. Yeah, e takes f6 met by b takes c3.
And knight a4, you can come with the knight to d5. So you get a nice spot for your own knight. If white moves the knight away, then you can simply place your knight in the center of the board, hit that bishop on e3.
Yeah, actually, it will be interesting to talk about it afterwards. But yeah, for the look at this. By the way, Arjun has played knight b1, knight d5, bishop g5, and I was saying Magnus might not be too happy just 2 moves ago. I think now he's very happy. I mean, okay, this knight b1 does not scare anyone. I mean, it's definitely not the right direction. But I would like to highlight before we move on to something that why I think that Arjun did not like the move knight a4. So knight a4, knight d5. e6, f takes e6, bishop d3, which is very thematic. Black plays the seemingly passive move knight f8, protecting the weakness on g6, and suddenly has a threat of going bishop d7, targeting the knight on a4. And suddenly this knight on a4 will find itself in a very awkward position. So this was something that he did not like, but in this regard, then I feel like he might have just missed e5 before, because you don't decide before going e5 to play knight b1. Then it would have been just much better continue the plan, go knight h3, knight g5, king b1, and let's just play chess. I mean, white's position is kind of nice, yeah. There was no need to start this action if in fact the action doesn't work out in white's favor.
Look at that knight and the queen. Knight e4 made to play to try and create a luft for the king on d2. After queen takes b2, he wants to try to run, but it looks like you're not going to be running too far.
Wow, I mean, not only that white's king is basically in a mating attack, but also look at, I mean, I have never seen a bishop trapped on g6 like this. I mean,
that's supposed to be a black pawn there, not a white bishop on g6.
Definitely. I mean, this whole construction, yeah, that are like almost 4 bishops next to each other. Yeah, the bishop on e6 a little bit spoils the picture, but I mean, just incredible. Also, the black pawn on f7 targeting the g6 bishop, the pawn from f5 targeting the e6, but it does not matter anything because actually Magnus is just breaking through on the queen side and checkmating white's king in the center.
He's going for the king. He's going for the king. So knight c3 played, it hits the queen. Queen d3, you can now pick up the knight on e4, knight e4, and then plant the other knight on c3. The only thing you need to watch out for is queen b5 check, which might allow some counterplay. But as long as you have the b5 square under control, black is dominating.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, also, if we just can't material, I think black is already pawn up. And yeah, white's king is in a lot of trouble. On the other hand, we do see that the computer means that there should be or there could be a potential knockout blow.
Can you just simply step back with your bishop? Yeah, I was just going to point out this move, Peter, what you're saying right now. Bishop d7, hitting that bishop on g6. And first I thought, wait a second, what about the f7 pawn? But then as you were just mentioning that bishop b5, I don't see a square for white's queen.
Exactly, yeah, that's the spirit of the play, yeah, because it just ends. Yeah, the queen on d3 is trapped. I mean, we don't really see too often, and it's on the board. It's played by Magnus. Yeah.
And it's funny, we were talking about how black needs to be careful about not allowing white's queen to get to b5, but instead Magnus finds this idea of getting his own bishop on b5 and trapping white's queen. This could just be a resignation by Arjun now. I don't see a way how he can keep up dealing with this pressure and this threat.
Yeah, I think it just resigns. I mean, there is just nothing to be done. I mean, Magnus just has destroyed Arjun, and here we see that how big psychologist Magnus is. Yeah, that he somehow sensed correctly that it's the first game. I should just get Arjun out of his comfort zone. Yeah, don't play anything that he might expect. And we have seen lately, actually, Magnus was toying a lot with playing the Peerts. But still, I don't think that Arjun could have expected, because Peerts always comes as a surprise. Yeah, like it almost feels like your opponent underestimates you. Yeah, that he's willing to take the risk of going for something. Yeah, now white has sacrificed the queen. The only problem is that he doesn't get enough. And in fact, not only does not get enough, yeah, he needs to resign, and he resigned.
All right, and that's it. Magnus wins the first game. Peter.